And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and they're open all the time at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. So make sure you make your way over there. Let them know that DT sent you their way when it comes to any vehicle that you're looking for. If you want a car, if you need an SUV, a smaller SUV, bigger SUV, a truck, they literally have something for everyone. And I cannot say how much I love my Honda CR-V because I've had this Honda CR-V product pretty much the entire time I have driven from 16 to now. I've been in some Honda CR-V, and I absolutely loved my first one, my 99, my white and black. And I love my 2025, my black on black on black. So make sure you get over there. My dad's a Ridgeline fan, and we've had the Civic, and of course my buddy had an Accord, so I got to know that in college when that was his vehicle. So you can definitely check out all of their inventory by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com, and of course you can go to the lot at 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. We are up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com is where you will find over 2,000 episodes of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can also get us on live internet streaming radio on wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. So make sure that you go there as well. We appreciate you however you're tuning in anywhere in the world, and definitely thank you for spending your mornings with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Here on today's broadcast, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', Dave Paziak joining me for DT and DP, the longtime basketball head coach and analyst, joins me for the Spurs and the Knicks precursor. It is the eve of the NBA Finals, and I get to spend it with one of my favorite people on and off the air. When it comes to expertise, there is nobody I would rather have leading us into the NBA Finals than Dave Paziak. So we'll talk Spurs and Knicks in just a moment, and then at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the Binghamton Bearcat Breakroom special that we bring you all throughout the year will now be featuring Nate Lucier. Nate Lucier just finished up his time at the U23 Nationals for Binghamton Wrestling, and he will be joining me to speak on God, faith, his journey, adversity, how you respond to it, and the fact that there are truly no coincidences, more so God incidences. You do not want to miss a minute of that conversation with Nate Lucier. Definitely a pick-me-up if you're having a rough day, and if you're having a beautiful day, it's going to keep it going. And we'll round out today's show with the ingredients to success, and we speak about quality time, but the topic today presented by Avicolli's is the quality of your time. We'll get into what that means to round out the show around 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time today. So with that being said, we are picture-in-picture with Dave Paziak. He's been telling us for the last couple weeks this would be the better matchup for the Knicks, the Spurs. And listen, back and forth, the Spurs and the Thunder went 7 games. I thought they would go 6 at worst, and 7 was not surprising at all. This was a game where the Spurs once again came out striking. The Thunder had to respond. They did. They got close, but the Spurs had an answer, and down the stretch, they had an answer for dang near everything. No matter what moves the Thunder made, the Spurs always had a counter move, and ultimately the game would get within 1 or 2 possessions, and then it's back to 11 for the Spurs, who were able to close it out in Oklahoma City. And Victor Wembanyama, in his second season in the NBA, is going with the Spurs to the finals, up against a team that they last faced in the finals in 1999, bringing back Prince and making us party like it's. Dave, how are we doing?
We're doing great, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, and I mean, you and I were talking. I gotta mention this a little bit here. We were talking about golf on the onset of everything here, and we were discussing things off the air. And you know, for you, I tell people this all the time. I grew up playing basketball. I would like to think that I'm still good, still got my shot, can still do my thing. So technically, if you're a good basketball player, you're supposed to be somewhat poor at golf. Is that a fair assessment? And what are your thoughts about getting yourself out on the course as a longtime basketball lover, obviously growing up playing and being a coach?
Well, I will tell you, if you remember the great coach Jerry Tarkanian from UNLV, he said he'd never hire an assistant coach that owned a Winnebago or a set of golf clubs. So, so there might be a little bit of truth to that, but Michael Jordan is a pretty good golfer, but then Charles Barkley is horrendous. So I don't know if there's, what the actual correlation there is, but I know, like for me, like I was telling you off air, in this part of the country, you really, being a basketball coach and everything, um, you got a little bit of time to get out in the summer,
Yeah.
and by middle of July, end of July, games finally in halfway decent shape, and then it's August, time to go back to school and time to put the clubs away. So that's the frustrating thing. So I need to end up in a warmer weather climate where you can play year round, and it might be halfway decent.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing. I think growing up in Florida, or I should say, not so much growing up in Florida. I mean, I did. I spent a lot of time there, as every year we would go down at least once a year. But then I lived down in Florida, and I experienced, you get up in the morning and there's beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day, so on and so forth, on and on, every single day for the most part. And then it would rain a little bit, and then it's beautiful again. So, I got spoiled when I was down there, and I thought to myself, like, wow, you can get out here and really play whenever you want. But the thing about Florida is it gets hot and it stays hot. And so it might be hot at 8:15 in the morning. So you and I spoke about, like, you get up early and you play and you try and beat the crowds, and sometimes you're out on the course by yourself, which is beautiful and surreal and kind of relaxing, and at the same time you're not dealing with the heat of it all. So I would say to you, yes, Dave, if you lived in a warmer climate, you could play all year round. But I would also say to you, you'd probably have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning between May and September.
Yeah, that's friends of mine that live in Florida and play a little bit. They say it's like completely opposite. In the Northeast, the one thing we're spoiled about, like especially in upstate New York, is there's plenty of courses, and so you can play reasonable cost, nice courses at a reasonable cost, which is not necessarily true in other parts of the country. But the thing about Florida is people say in the winter, it costs a lot to golf because that's when everybody wants to play because the temperatures are decent and the price to play and the demand to play is a lot. When
Yeah.
you get to the summer, it's what you said, it's the heat and you can play for cheap because nobody wants to be out in the middle of the day in 100 degrees,
Yeah, no.
so there's that trade-off for sure.
No, it gets a little insane. Like, I remember, like, you wake up in the morning, and I'd be like driving to Disney, and I'm sitting here saying to myself, like, I'm grateful it's sunny, I'm grateful it's beautiful and it's warm, but I'm like, it's 87 degrees and it's 8:30 in the morning. Like, it's and at night, I remember one time I was on the phone. It was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the phone because I don't sleep, and I went I went and sat on the patio of the condo that I used to live in, and I kid you not, Dave, it was like 82 degrees at 3 o'clock in the morning. I opened the door to go outside, and it was suffocating. It literally felt like I just breathed in a bunch of hot air, like someone stuffed your face in like a cushion of a couch. Like, it was this heavy, just heat, and I was like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So sometimes, I mean, I think I love the heat and I appreciate it. And I'm not going to say, God, take it away, because I value it and I'm grateful for it. I would just say, I think everybody gets to a point in a place like Florida where when it's suffocatingly hot in the middle of the night, you're waiting for some type of reprieve. You want some type of, like, exhale, and sometimes heat is just heat. But speaking of what is heating up, the New York Knicks of the North, when it's 40 degrees at night and 70, 80 degrees during the day, they've been heating up. They've been taking care of business. They've been not only winning, but sweeping. And then the San Antonio Spurs have brought their own heat, which, if you've been down in Texas, which is a massive state, it definitely has a level of heat I would describe as different than Florida. And definitely when it's 91 and you're at an amusement park like I was in the Dallas area with Six Flags, what is it, Six Flags Over Dallas? I can tell you that heat is a different type of heat. So two teams heating up, one team doing it against the best team arguably in the nation. another team doing it against a team that I think maybe some people were surprised got as far as they did in Cleveland. And yet we have two red hot teams that are trying to win an NBA title in a rematch from 99. Your thoughts on what we get as fans starting tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's an intriguing matchup. I think when we're looking at the conference, we talked about this. I think the Knicks and the Spurs is a really competitive matchup, more so than a potential Knicks Thunder matchup might have been.
Yeah.
The Knicks have been unbelievable in the playoffs. They've won like 11 in a row, I think. Saw something where they played 4 games in the last 24 days by the time it's the final start. But I think the thing about the Knicks is, and we've talked about this, this year and in the past and everything. The Knicks are kind of the classic rise to the NBA Finals and the NBA championship, where they've endured the struggle and they've gone from being bad to being, um, qualifying for the playoffs, to winning a series, to getting to the conference finals a couple of times, now getting over the hump and getting to the finals. So,
Yeah.
for the Knicks, that's been kind of the classic pathway to an NBA title. The Spurs, the thing that's really amazing about them is they're such a young team. They're core guys, a lot of first, second, third year guys, right? Those teams don't do what the Spurs have done historically. They were 13th in the West a year ago,
Yeah.
right? So coming into the season, I think people thought they'd be significantly better, and healthy Wemby all year and all that, and I think like making the playoffs was kind of like people saw that as the Spurs goal and ceiling and everything for this year, and they've blown through that certainly. Um, Teams don't come out of nowhere and win an NBA title. Historically, I mean, the one that comes to mind is when the Celtics put together Pierce and Garnett and Ray Allen, and they came out of nowhere and won a title. The difference there is you're putting together several of the all-time greats in the game, and it clicked for them. And there's, that instance at work, but we've seen other teams try to do similar things, Brooklyn Nets and whatnot, that it hasn't worked out. So what the Spurs did is have done this season so far. It's a little bit of uncharted territory, and like what Wemby's doing, kind of, it takes me back a little bit to like Kareem in his second year when he took the Bucks to the NBA title, but he had Oscar Robertson playing more. More recently, LeBron, early in his career, getting Cleveland to the finals and everything.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a guy come along like him, and lift the team as quickly as he has, very often in NBA history.
No, and like you said, I mean, this was a Spurs team that was down and out, and we had discussed it before that David Robinson to Tim Duncan, it was from an NBA great to another potential NBA great who became an NBA great, and I mean the move really was it reminds me of Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. It's here's a champion caliber person and here's another champion caliber person. How do you live beyond Brett Favre? How are you going to be able to get by? Well, you have Aaron Rodgers. How do you get by without David Robinson? You have Tim Duncan. But then there was that valley for the Spurs, and the Spurs fell off, and the conversation was Golden State. And it has been Golden State for a long time. Then the Thunder start getting better, right? We see the Lakers start getting better again. And that's where the focus went in the West. Phoenix had its moments. Houston had their moments. But San Antonio just kind of fell away. And then you say, okay, well, they got the number one pick, and everybody and their mother for months was Victor Wembanyama's going to be the pick. That's the consensus number one. He's going to be the guy. But Dave, you and I both know that when there's the hype and the anticipation and the hope, the person still has to come through. And that number one pick, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And Victor comes in, and in his first season, San Antonio still, they're there, but you're not really threatened by them. You're still thinking about the Lakers. You're still thinking, does Golden State have any more gas in the tank? You're focusing on Oklahoma City, who shot up. You're wondering what Houston's going to do. and Phoenix was still doing all right. So there was the focus on all of those teams, still not San Antonio. So, like you said, it's been a long time since we've seen a player come onto a team and in short order bring them from the basement to the finals. So, my question to you, Dave, whatever happens in this series, from what you're seeing right now, are we in an era once again where the Spurs will be contesting for multiple finals?
Well, I mean, it looks that way for sure. Things change so quickly. I mean, we were having that conversation about the Thunder a year ago that they're going to be the team to beat for the next 5 to 10 years. And now a year later, the conversation is what are they going to do to be able to keep up with the Spurs?
Yeah.
So, it looks that way that if San Antonio, Wemby stays healthy, continues to, grow, which is a scary thing, that he's going to continue to get better. And the guys that got around him, Harper and Castle and, some of the other parts that they put around him, those guys are going to continue to get better too. So, if they can navigate that, avoid what Pat Riley used to call the disease of me. As soon as you start having success, then everybody needs, is looking for theirs. If they avoid that and stay healthy and can manage their assets and manage the cap, I mean, you would think that San Antonio, as long as Wemby's a linchpin and they keep the parts around them, that they're going to be looked at as one of, if not the team to beat for foreseeable future.
Well, and I think what I've been thinking about during this NBA playoffs here in 2026, it goes beyond just the Spurs. I know that Boston, the thought was that they weren't going to be as competitive with Tatum out, and how long was he going to be out? And Philadelphia maybe did better than some people anticipated, and they're a team that has navigated through injury, right? And Joel Embiid has been the question, I guess, for Philly is he worth keeping? Is he not worth keeping? Have we passed? Is he like Kyler Murray in the NFL? Like, are we past the point of continuing to try to see if it's going to work out? And so I see the East, and I don't see any dominant team in the East. But I look at the West, and I say, if it's Oklahoma City and it's San Antonio, and maybe, the Luka Doncic, once they finally commit that it's his team, those Lakers and what they do, and then maybe another team amidst all of this. What I've been thinking this whole time, well, most of the time during the playoffs, Dave, is whoever's in the East, does it really matter knowing that the West may have the best teams for the foreseeable future? Do you agree or disagree? Your thoughts on that? Have we had a heavy East? Are we now in a world of heavy West?
We're in a world of heavy West, but I think there's certainly going to be teams in the East. I think, you look at Detroit, there's a team that, um, great regular season. Can they translate that as they get older and, Cunningham continues to, um, evolve? I mean, he's a first team All NBA player and he's another guy that's young in his career. Um, so can Detroit continue to grow and mature? Boston, one of the like Missoula, I thought was a very deserving coach of the year because that was a team that everybody thought was punting on the regular season with the Tatum injury, and he kept them afloat all year, and
Yeah.
really, they were playing as well as anybody, and until Philly, had the great comeback and to win that series. So I think you look at Detroit and Boston. Um, I think those teams, the Knicks aren't going to go anywhere anytime soon. So, Philly's got some things to figure out with how to add a little bit of depth to that roster. Um, so I think there are teams in the East that certainly will contend. I think the the top of the West, with San Antonio, with Oklahoma City, don't forget about Denver. They still got Jokic.
Yeah.
The Lakers. Houston, I thought, was a team that was like that step behind Oklahoma City the last 3 or 4 years. Thunder were the second worst team in the league. The Rockets were the worst, and then it kind of all ascended at the same rate. Rockets swung big this year with KD, and actually took a little bit of a backward step compared to the rest of the West. So, um, I think um, there's more top tier teams right now in the West, but I think there are teams in the East that certainly will be in a conversation to win a championship.
Here with Dave Pasiak and DT and DP as we discuss the NBA Finals. We are on the eve of the 2026 NBA Finals. 27 years ago in 1999, they faced off against each other, and this was a piece of the Spurs' run as the Spurs won the NBA Finals against the Knicks back then, almost 3 decades ago. In the here and now, these two teams that we have, Dave, you've mentioned the big three attempts, right? Some of them work, some of them didn't. We have seen the Miami Heat work. We saw the Brooklyn Nets not work. We've seen moments where a team is going to have it in the Celtics, and we've seen times where it doesn't shape up and really show out into anything. I mean, Oklahoma City drafted into it essentially back in the day. Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, but they didn't keep it together long enough to actually see what I don't think they knew what they were losing when they lost it. So for these two teams, there is no big three. There was no like blockbuster trades. Let's go and get these guys and let's try to assemble a team and spend a ton of money and hope for the best between, this year and next year and screw the tax. We'll figure it out. What are your thoughts on that? The fact that some big threes work, some big threes don't. The two teams we got in the NBA Finals, these were not teams that went for broke spending money on the big three. We're talking about, Victor Wembanyama's #1 overall pick, but we got other guys here that they're finding and placing and putting in different areas, second-round picks, late first-round picks. No big three in the NBA Finals. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Spurs historically have been as good as anybody in the NBA of identifying guys that are late first round, second round picks. Um, you go all the way back to when had Ginobili and Parker, right? So they've always been a team that has kind of uncovered um, people that may be overlooked by the rest of the league. Um, the Knicks, they went out and got Brunson. I don't think when they picked up Brunson, I don't think there was that anybody thought his game would evolve and he would elevate himself to the level he's at. Where um, he's. I mean, if the Knicks win it, I saw a thing. This is to me, it's a little bit preposterous to be having this conversation just yet. I read a column yesterday about where people were questioning, is Brunson the greatest Knick ever, which I think is a ridiculous statement at this point in his career. Um, but they're trying to substantiate it with the numbers and everything. And I think the column ended up listing the top 10 Knicks ever, and I think they had Brunson at fourth, which I still think is kind of crazy. But um, I think he has become certainly the linchpin in the centerpiece of what they're doing, and nobody was expecting that. So, and that's a combination of, did the Knicks see something in him that nobody else did, or did they get lucky, or
Yeah.
did Brunson just need his opportunity to really kind of be the centerpiece, and it was there all along? So. I mean, when he was in Dallas, he's a solid player, but certainly not on the level that he's been since he's gone to New York.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, there's guys in the NBA, and you make a move, and you say, did they know something that somebody else didn't know? Did they see something, or do they just know how to speak to that person? There's a lot of things that can go into it. Is the person happy where they are, or where they work versus where they are? How do they feel? What's their mental like? Are they closer to home? Are they closer to family? Are they with? I mean, I look at the fact of the Knicks, and you got 3 teammates playing with each other. 2 of them won 2 NCAA tournament titles, and then the 3 of them won 1 together. So there's something to be said about the fact of comfortability that this team has in putting all of that together. And so let's stop there for a second. We talk about high draft picks and low draft picks. Jalen Brunson wasn't a high draft pick, and Mikal Bridges, he was the highest of the three, but Josh Hart, bottom of the first round, and then you look at Jalen Brunson being a second round pick. Having these three gentlemen together, what are your thoughts on what this does and what this means? They know what it's like to go through high octane situations. They know what it's like to win a championship. They know what it's like to be on the nation's final stage with two teams left. So how much do you think experience of those three guys with the Nova Knicks, how does experience play into this, number one? And number two of it all, I would say, beyond the experience of it, do you think that comfortability and just adversity that they've already felt, does that give them an extra piece? Does it give them another notch in their belt that they can use if the Spurs do come on strong at the beginning of this thing?
Yeah, maybe a little. I like personally, I think like it's a nice story, the Villanova connection and everything. Um, and if these guys have all been in the league for a while now, and I think that at this point, I think it's I mean they've got the relationship from being teammates in college, and that's worth something, right?
Yeah.
But I think right now it's more coincidental and something neat to talk about than it has actual. I think the bigger impact is those guys going through the struggles in the NBA together, along with other guys on that Knick team. I think growing through that experience is a way more significant factor in this series in the here and now than what they may have done years in the past at Villanova. They've been in the NBA now, been to the NBA or the conference finals a couple of times, and to me that like being able to draw on those experiences is much more significant than anything they might draw on from, 8, 10 years in the past.
Here's the thing of it. Can you remember teammates that won an NCAA tournament national championship and then also went on to win an NBA title together? Because it feels like this is a very small world that these three Nova Knicks are living in right now if they were to do this. Can you, in your mind, point to a team where we had something like this in the NBA?
I'd have to think about it. Nothing comes to mind in the top of my head. I'd have to really kind of go back and think about it a little bit.
Yeah, because I feel like it's unheard of, to be at the collegiate top of the mountain and then at the professional top of the mountain with your teammates, to have something work out in that respect. I think it's very atypical. And so if for nothing else, it's a beautiful story in that sense. On the other side of it, Dave, the Spurs, we talk about, well, the Knicks, we're not talking high draft picks. The Spurs, we are. They got a guy on their bench that was picked 7th overall. They got the 1st overall pick. They got the 4th pick. They got the 5th pick. I mean, they have multiple lottery picks. 3 of them are in their starting 5. One of them comes off their bench in Harrison Barnes. So let's go to that side of it. The San Antonio Spurs, like you said, identifying talent. Well, they've had a lot of lottery picks, a lot of high draft picks, and their team is littered with the 4th overall, the 5th overall, the 7th overall, the 1st overall. Your thoughts on the makeup of this team that is really built through the draft?
Yeah, reminds me. Uh, they've got a little bit, actually more than a little, a lot of the same characteristics of like both this iteration of the Thunder and the Durant, Harden, Westbrook iteration of the Thunder, where they've been fortunate. I mean, they're fortunate in the lottery era that they get the number one pick and get the draft Wemby, right? I
Yeah.
think whoever drafts Wemby is, is going to be in the conversation in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then last year they get Harper with the second pick. Um, and he's looks like he's going to develop into a good player. So, um, they've had a little bit of good fortune with where the picks have fallen, but they've also done a good job to this point of utilizing those picks on guys that are going to be um, impactful pretty much right away. And like I said, what they're doing, I think, is somewhat unprecedented in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, seeing even like Bismack Biyombo, who, even if he's not out there, you look at the fact that he was picked by Sacramento, but he was a seventh overall pick. I mean, they got a bunch of these high draft picks as opposed to, the Knicks that have put a lot of things together here and just found a different way and a different road. So when you look at the chemical makeup of the Knicks in their assembly, and you look at the chemical makeup of the Spurs, what can you say to these two environments, these two cultures clashing? What are your thoughts on how the Knicks have built and assembled versus how the Spurs have built and assembled, and what that looks like when those two are going to butt heads for the next 4 games, hopefully 7?
Yeah, I think from the Knicks standpoint, um, you know, they've come together through making the right deals, putting the right pieces together, and kind of growing together internally. Whereas San Antonio, especially with the young guys and the high draft picks, they've got how do I want to put it? I think their raw talent base, their initial raw talent base, probably better. Um, but they need to come together, like put that all together, and they've done it at warp speed, which is crazy. And I think one of the things that hasn't been talked about a little much, you mentioned Biombo, they've got him, they've got Kelly Olynyk, they've got Barnes, they've got Kennard was part of a championship environment in Boston, right? So none of those guys are playing significant roles other than maybe Barnes.
Yeah.
But I think that experience level and that locker room presence, um, I think that's a contributing factor to how quickly the Spurs have ascended. I like it a little bit too much, or a little bit too. Udonis Haslem was one of the great locker room guys in the history of the NBA, and the Heat kept him around long after he could really do much for him on the court, just because of his leadership and his locker room presence. So.
Yeah.
I think guys like Biombo and Barnes and Olynyk, I think provide some of that, maybe not at the Haslam level, but they provide some of that stabilizing influence, on the Spurs young core.
Yeah. And you got the Dookie and Mason Plumlee on this roster as well for the
Yeah.
San Antonio Spurs. Dave Paziak here with me inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Wake up call with Dan Tortora, preparing you for the NBA Finals as we are here on the eve of it. I want to look at a few players that may not get the publicity, right? They may not get the spotlight as much. And I want to go to Julian Champagnie first of the San Antonio Spurs. Your take on him and what he can be. Coming out of St. John's, he's in his 3rd season in the NBA. Most recently with the Spurs and their victory on the road over Oklahoma City in Game 7. He had 20 points in 38 minutes. He is a starter, 6 of 11. His 6 made field goals were all 3-pointers. He was 60%, 6 for 10 from 3, and he had 6 rebounds in the game, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal. And just your overall take on Champagnie. What does he do for the Spurs? Can he be a catalyst? Is he one of the names that we need to look out for?
Well, it's interesting. You talk about all the high draft picks the Spurs have. Champagnie was undrafted, I believe, and um, and my Sixers had him for a period of time, and then San Antonio claimed him off waivers, and he's become a key guy for them.
Yeah.
Um, so I think what he provides them, like he makes shots, right? And at the end of the day, it's like one of my good friends in basketball, Ed Jones. He always used to say, You worry about running your offense and playing good D and all that. He says, at the end of the day, if you make shots, you think you're good. If you don't, you think you stink, and everything else is kind of BS, you know? And that's Champagne's like really, if he's making shots, he's an X factor and a bit of a difference maker for the Spurs, which we've seen in various times in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, he's definitely come up big. He did go undrafted in 2022 out of St. John's. By the way, shout out to St. John's, the fourth seed in their regional pod in the college baseball Division One postseason tournament, took down the one seed who was hosting Florida State, and St. John's is moving on to the Super Regional. So another note for St. John's here. And St. John's, obviously, they know the Garden as home. We know the Knicks that call the Garden home, and we know that the Big East calls it home for the Big East tournament, Big East Media Days, and whatnot. And so we also know that Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson knew all about the Garden before they became Knicks. The X factor for the Knicks would be who? We talk about Champagnie. I have a guy that I circled, and his point total and his minute total and his field goal makes were the same in the last game, almost identical to Champagnie, and that's OG Anunoby. He had 27 minutes, 17 points. He was 6 of 13. His didn't come from threes. He was 1 of 5 there. He had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals in that blowout victory on the road against Cleveland that secured the sweep for the Knicks. OG Anunoby, I got to ask you about him. He is a former Raptor, and the Knicks do this all the time. They look at Toronto, they look a few hours to the north, they see the guys they like, and then they go and select the ones they want to take. What does OG Anunoby bring to this Knicks team? Can he be an X factor? Is he someone you circle in this series beyond the Nova Knicks that we spoke about?
Well, yeah, I think he's a guy. Um, and the Knicks have a bunch of these guys, right? It's going to go through Brunson and it's going to go through Towns, but OG's a guy that they can ride him for a period of time, or in a given game, or in a given stretch of a game. Same with Bridges, same with Hart. Hart, I think, is really their X factor guy, which we can get back to him. Um, but uh, but like Anunoby's a guy who like he's going to have an impact in this series at both ends of the floor. I think he's a guy that, depending on who the Knicks have on the floor, he may see a turn guarding Wemby, right? I'm guessing that it'll be some combination of him and Robinson guarding Wemby, and they provide two different looks potentially. Robinson with the real physical play, and I think Anunoby with his quickness and athleticism. I think he's a guy who can match up to Wemby when he comes away from the basket. So, I think he's going to be impactful on that end of the floor too. And he is a guy that he's shown that they can ride him for periods of time when it's not going for Brunson or it's not going for Towns.
Yeah, you kind of led into it here, but there's something that I'm calling forming the Wemby wall. Who are the guys on the Knicks that you think are the best opposition to form the Wemby wall? I know you mentioned Mitchell. He's coming off of surgery, maybe wearing something on his hand in order to help him be out there and do what he needs to do. So as we form the Wemby wall, or attempt to form the Wemby wall, who forms this wall the best? Is it a group? Is there one guy that you think can be an X factor against Wemby? What do we do when it comes to the Wemby wall?
Well, I think it's the guys I just mentioned. I think it's Anunoby and Robinson. I think um, it'll be some combination of those guys guarding him in all likelihood. And uh, you know, I part of it's going to depend on what kind of look the Knicks have on the floor at a given time, right? If they're looking to be more, and the problem with Robinson, like he's probably the best matchup around the basket. The problem with him is he becomes unplayable in certain situations because of the free throw issue. Um, so think, I mean, you may see Towns guard Wemby on short stretches, or maybe somebody like Hart. I know like Oklahoma City guarded him with Dort at times. Um, and that's the thing about Wemby is that he provides problems in so many areas that if you're going to if you're going to guard him one way, he can hurt you in that matchup in a different way. And there's no real, um, short of like prime LeBron James or Kevin Durant, there's really no guy that can really guard him in all ways. Um, so I think that's something that I think will be like an ongoing chess match during the series.
No, I agree. And figuring out how to guard Victor Wembanyama is probably going to be an NBA problem for a very long time. Dave, last point here as we get set for the 2026 NBA Finals. If not Victor Wembanyama taking the last shot for the Spurs, who do you want the ball to be in the hands of if it is a last-second shot to win the game? Same question for the Knicks. If not Brunson, then who? So if it's not Wemby and it's not Brunson, who do you put the ball in the hands of for the Spurs, and who do you put the ball in the hands of for the Knicks if it's a game-winning attempt?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it's really going to be a game-to-game thing. Um, for the Knicks, I think I think you put the ball in Towns' hands,
Okay.
either to be the scorer or the playmaker. Like they have one of the really great adjustments that Brown made um, during the play, is playing through Towns at times, where Towns is they throw the ball to Towns in the high post area and they play off of him and move Brunson away from the ball. And they've had stretches where they've looked really, really good playing that way. Um, so I would say Towns on that end. For San Antonio, probably a guy like Castle. You
Okay.
know, he, and I think Castle's a high risk, high reward player. Like early in the OKC series, turning the ball over like crazy. But then when he cut that down, he was really an impact guy in a positive way as the series wore on. So, probably the ball will be in his hands to either create for himself, create for somebody. So, probably those two guys if the ball is not in Brunson's hands and in Wemby's hands at the end of the games.
Those are the names that I was thinking of. So smart minds here this morning on Wake Up Call. Those are the ones I kind of had circled when I asked the question. Dave Paziak here with us as we get ready for the NBA Finals. Do you want to make your prediction, Dave? San Antonio, New York, who wins how many games? Because we're on the eve of it. So we'll obviously address it and we'll analyze as we go throughout the NBA Finals. But as we're walking into it, running into it in a lot of cases, people can't wait to get to the Garden. It's been a long time seeing the NBA Finals there. So I ask you, who wins and in how many?
Uh, I think if Danhausen doesn't lay a curse down on San Antonio, or he can't curse an alien, um, you know, the fact that the Spurs have Game 7, I think works in their favor if it gets that far. But I have a hard time getting past. The Knicks have done it through the grind and everything. So I think a long series, and at the end of the day, that experience, and this came back to bite me in the Thunder series. But that experience that the Knicks have had going through the grind, I think that may be the difference. And if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably give us the slightest of edges to the Knicks,
Okay, how many games?
6 or 7.
Okay. I had a prediction in the last series, and no, I think it was no, it was in the second series for the Knicks, and I said Knicks in 6. And I'm sitting here thinking about it this morning, and I'm thinking this could go 7, but I think if it goes 7, it leans more on San Antonio. I'm going to say the Knicks do it in the Garden in 6. So I got Knicks in 6. I'm going to keep with that rhyme. I'm going to keep with the moniker that I used recently here in the NBA playoffs. And Dave is saying Knicks in 6 or 7. I will say Knicks in 6, which will only be ever more exciting. I got to go to New York City no matter what in October. If the Knicks win, they're still going to be partying outside between now and October. So with that being said, I look forward to, and I'll be right by the Garden. I look forward to the series. It starts this Wednesday, June 3rd, and it will carry through 4 and maybe more. And of course, we will be carrying coverage of it right here on Wake Up Call with my guy, Dave Paziak. We call it DT and DP. My better half, the longtime basketball head coach and analyst. Dave, as always, thank you for your time. I hope that we have warmer mornings so you can go out and golf and do your thing. And I look forward to seeing what the Knicks and Spurs can give us 27 years later.
Yeah, it's really one of the most anticipated series that we've had of late, and especially in the Northeast and New York City bias and all that. But if the Knicks win it, it's going to be crazy in the city. I can say that. Might be the one thing that can unify New York City, since politicians can't do it. But looking forward to it, and I'm sure we'll be chatting again soon.
Yeah, I do not disagree with you about that at all. I say sometimes New York City looks insane right now, the amount of graffiti and the amount of stuff and like just things that you see that you didn't see before, like on billboards and whatnot. So I'm going to say this to New York: win or lose, gracefully, kindness, togetherness, and unification. Okay, the last time that area was unified was 9/11. So let's not have a tragedy. May it be a blessing, an honor, a positive thing that brings you all together. And let's enjoy this. No matter what, we know the Garden's going to be lit up for the first time in a long time, and I can't wait to see it. Dave, as always, thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking series on and off the air with you coming up soon.
Sounds great. We'll talk soon, Dan.
Take care. With that being said, Mr. Paziak here with us going through the NBA Finals, and we will see more of Dave as we will have more NBA Finals coverage coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, my special broadcast with the one and only Nate Lucier. You do not want to miss a moment of this. If you're a non-believer, watch. If you're a believer, watch. If you're having a good day, watch. If you're having a rough day or a rough week, watch. God, faith, the journey, no such thing as coincidences, and how we already won. That's all coming up from the Binghamton Wrestler right after this inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, Food Truck Battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the State Fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at greatlakeshondacity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming out of that fast break here inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and open all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. You know, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats, I have the honor and the privilege all throughout the year to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni connected to the greater Bearcat family. And I'm here with Nate Lucier today in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom with the Binghamton Wrestling student athlete following his time inside of the U23 Nationals. And with that being said, Nate, happy to have you here and to be able to welcome you to the show. Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning to you. I'm doing great. Just got back the other day. It was a good experience. I had a good time. I love to compete. It was a good time, but I've been doing well.
And you and I were talking off the air. You said you feel like you get progressively more sore. I'm sore for another reason. I just had surgery, so my soreness comes and goes. Your soreness came on the mat. How's the body doing right now?
It's doing good. I would say day 2 I woke up and felt pretty dang good. And now on the ride home, I was starting to hurt a little bit, and then I woke up and my neck is real stiff, upper back is pretty shot. But yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the soreness. Got to be grateful for it.
Yeah, and like you said, got to be grateful for the soreness because it means you get to do something you love and something you appreciate. How do you navigate the after effects that we're talking about right now? What do you do for your body after going to a meet, after, putting yourself through whatever comes your way? What is the regimen afterward to try and reset your body?
For me, I try and get as much sleep as possible. And I know some guys, like I talked to Carter Bear, my teammate, about this the other day. You know, at least after competitions, I have a hard time sleeping, it's weird. I don't know if it's just the anxiety and just, all the matches that kind of happened, but I try and get as much sleep as I can. Like if I can nap the next day, I can, I'll do that. I'll eat, good stuff, make sure I'm, replenishing my glycogen. Getting hydrated is very key too, especially after a hard weight cut, but just kind of your simple stuff, nothing too crazy. If you're really sore, I'll rip like a hot bath, cold bath.
Yeah, so like you said, you're putting yourself through a bunch of different things. You said hot bath, cold bath. Has your body, I mean, most of us being warm-blooded, a nice warm bath feels good, but you have to get your body to a place where an ice bath or a cold bath actually feels good. Bring me into how your body reacts to it. Is it something that just over time you almost become numb to it? Or how do you, because I mean, I've been to NFL training camps, you see guys in a giant garbage can in an ice bath, and they're just talking, hanging out like it's a nice warm bath on a hot summer day. And then I think about being in an ice bath and I'm like, would I freeze to death? So how do you get used, like how did your body get used to it? How do you accustom yourself to being warm-blooded and then putting yourself essentially in a giant cold glass of water?
I think that, at least for me, it's more of the mental switch.
Okay.
And, it's like the leading up to it. It's like the anticipation of just getting in. And once you get in, I think you realize it's not that bad. And kind of like you said, to that point of, you do it for so long, you just get used to it. And, you just kind of adapt. I think that once you start to do it more, though, like you said, the conversations you can have while being cold, it just kind of happens because the guy next to you is also freezing, so it kind of helps a little bit too. But I think it's just the anticipation that kills the most, at least for me. That's just my experience.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what you're saying is your mind makes it always worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the anticipation, it's the setup, right? You watch a scary movie, before you see whatever the alien looks like, your brain makes the alien so much worse. So the longer they don't show you, the kind of more anxiety and stress your body has, and then you see it, and then you're like, oh, it's not that bad. So how do you deal with that side of it, with the mental side of it, overcoming the mind, so to speak, utilizing your mind as a positive and controlling your mind instead of your mind controlling you? Because it's always the setup, the anticipation that can get us nervous, stressed, anxious. So how do you gain control of your mind instead of the other way around?
That's a really good question. And honestly, if you don't mind me, I'm going to deviate a little bit from the ice bath specifically.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a tool and a skill that takes a lot and like a lot of practice, and you just have to apply it, right? Prime example, honestly, was this past weekend at U23. So I am probably one of the most anxious people ever. I get anxious over the smallest things, and I try to fight it. But I think that the one thing that has started to work for me, and Coach LeBlanc has really, drilled this into our heads, at least mine, it really, got through mine, is, it's like you just look back. Right before I was about to wrestle this weekend, I just thought of how hard we've been training, how I train specifically, just me, you know what I mean? Like I like to hit my reps clean. I like to hit them right every single time. And just that, I know that the guy across from me, he's not doing the reps like me. He's not pushing himself. He's not intentionally doing the reps as good as me. And then you get the positive affirmation off of your hard work, that you kind of talk into yourself. And another thing too that kind of helps me is my faith in Christ. And that's a big thing that Carter Bear and I kind of discuss with each other. Every day we kind of jokingly say it, but it's true. We always say, we already won. We already won. We're playing dodgeball and we're saying that, but it I don't know if he realizes it, but it's helped me immensely over the past couple months, just because it puts things into perspective. I go to wrestle at a tournament. That in itself is just awesome. Like me being able to be at this level to go compete is crazy. And then me being able to go win is also great, and just go and have fun. And, I think just having to answer your question in short, I'm a big rambler, but, I think it's trusting in your training, being confident in your training, and, having whatever your faith is depending on that is your main source of joy.
Yeah, I love that you brought up your faith, and Carter Bear's been on the show before, and we've discussed that as well. You said we already won. Before the match starts, before anything happens, we already won. What does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? We already won.
When I say that to myself, we already won, I just imagine it's like I'm in my own vision,
yeah.
And then I just zoom out, and then you see Earth is like the smallest speck of dust, right? And for me to get so wound up and so nervous, and letting the negative emotions creep in too much, that just does a disservice to what I can actually display and perform. And to relate that to my faith, it's like me losing this match isn't going to take away my salvation in Christ. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to do all these negative things that I kind of start to think in my mind. And it just helps me to be where my feet are, like just be present and fixate on just going out and having fun.
Yeah, I love these conversations, and I've gotten to have so many of them with Binghamton University, which warms my heart because this partnership meant a lot to me to get going. And then once it got going, talking with the Bearcat family, I've been moved even farther than I thought I was going to be. The conversations have been fantastic, but there's been so many conversations about God. And I believe in God. My faith is everything to me, but I don't force it on people. I let people share what they want to share. And once they share it, I'll engage and talk with you about it. You said doesn't have to do with your salvation. Winning a match, whether you do or not, is not going to affect your salvation. We sin, we fail, we falter all the time. We are not perfect, and God doesn't owe us anything. So what makes you believe that you and I and the people watching and listening can be saved, will be saved, knowing that this world really doesn't deserve it, so to speak?
Well, I mean, it's a deep question. And the one thing that sort of comes to my mind, and I want to shout out Brendan Hitchcock and Dave Maynor and all the other guys that have kind of guided me into this Bible study, and just honestly into the faith as well. And obviously, thanks be to God. But I think of Ephesians 2:8-9. I can't recite it off the top of my head. You have been saved through grace, you've been saved through grace or by faith, and not by works alone, is basically what it's saying. And not to take away from the meaning of it, but that's been one of the biggest verses I think that has led our Bible study, and honestly has led my faith, because at the end of the day, like you said, we're all sinners. We all fall short, right? We all automatically align with Adam and Eve, regardless of if we want to or not. That is on our record. Yeah. And we have an out, right? We have an out to eternal life through Jesus Christ. And I think it's a thing where I try and use my voice, to spread the good news. But like you said, I'm not going to sit here and force my beliefs on people. Like I will always plant the seed. I want to plant as many seeds as I can with family, friends, whoever it may be. But it's a tough thing to say, for who may or may not hear it. But that's the one thing that kind of comes to my mind is Ephesians 2:8-9.
Yeah, and a beautiful passage in the Bible. Absolutely incredible that you picked this. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. So just an awesome. See, this is what I love, because God finds me where I'm at. He finds you where you're at. But this is the thing, like, you and I haven't had a conversation before. Yet, I'm so excited about this conversation a few minutes in that I already feel grateful. and I already feel blessed. So I'm going to say this to you, Nate. Whatever we talk about in the wrestling world, whatever wins come your way, which I hope many do and many more than losses, I want to thank you for strengthening my faith today just by being the person that you are.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously. It means a lot. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned Carter Bear. And so I gotta say this about, I want to know your thoughts. Like, if you were to describe Carter Bear to someone that never met him, never been around him, nothing, I know that I appreciate him and I very much value and just, it means a lot to me the fact that him and I have even crossed paths. The same for you. How would you describe Carter Bear to somebody who never met him?
He's one of the most caring and considerate individuals I think that I've ever crossed paths with. And he has a unique story. It's similar to mine. It's actually kind of weird in a way, in a good way. We both came to college unsaved. Like, I didn't believe in anything growing up, and I Carter could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he did either, and we both kind of fell into this. And I think that Carter, the way that I've seen Carter grow is extremely. I'm very grateful to kind of see it because he's taught me a lot, right? Even though I'd been saved, I don't know, a year or so prior to him, and he's taught me so much, and I don't even think he necessarily realizes that. But he's one of the most kind-hearted and just gentle and caring individuals. And he might not look like he's very gentle just because of how he's a stocky dude, but he's a great friend, and he's like the epitome of a brother in Christ, in my opinion. That's my guy right there.
Yeah, and I love that we get to share this and positivity and talk about faith today because it can help somebody else out there somewhere that's watching and listening. For you to be a part of this squad, of this team, Nate, when you look at Binghamton Bearcats wrestling, what does this team mean to you? This experience, this family, what has this done for your life as you're sitting here with me as a redshirt senior? You put time in. What have the Bearcats meant to you?
Well, I think that the Bearcats, honestly, the guys who are still on the team, the guys who have left and graduated, it's meant the world to me. I think it opened up so many different perspectives that I learned so much that I kind of almost forget because it's so valuable. Like, I think I take a piece of everyone and I sort of just kind of try and hold on to it and take their perspective into consideration. And I'm extremely grateful for just everything that I've experienced in the Binghamton program. And, I think about this a lot, and I'm not necessarily trying to put myself down, and I don't really think I am, honestly, but I have not been the most successful college wrestler in the past, I don't know, I would say, 5-ish years roughly. And that's something that I struggled with when I, first became a Christian, right? Wrestling was my identity, and I had to pick it up and put my anchor in Christ. And it's very difficult, and it still is very difficult. But, these guys that have surrounded me, such as Carter, Sammy Dupre, Louis Dupre, Michael Zarif, Micah Rose, all these believers that have been in my life have truly been a blessing to me and my faith. And then the guys who are non-believers, they still, are very loving and caring. And I love every single guy that I've ever been teammates with. I think we really have a bond like no other. It's actually incredible. And I'm the word that honestly has been on my mind the past couple months is just gratitude.
They say that you cannot have gratitude and negativity, like they can't coexist together. That if you have a grateful heart and if you focus on being grateful and thankful and having gratitude, that you can't have that and kind of live in this negative space at the same time. I knew you were going to say gratitude. How does having an attitude of gratitude, how does that kind of build upon itself? Do you believe that when you are grateful, it compounds itself and turns into a domino effect of more things to be grateful for?
Yes. And that's something that I have been realizing the past couple of weeks and maybe about a month or so, a month and a half. And it's incredible. It's the most it's one of the coolest experiences that I've noticed, and I'm so thankful for God for allowing me to kind of see it this way because right, let's say, I mean, the other day example, I'm cutting weight for the second day, and I'm not, I didn't really need to cut that much weight. I probably went too hard regardless, right? In the moment, I'm sitting there, I'm having my teammate Dylan Eric put me through, just your typical weight cut stuff, stance of motion, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like thinking, man, this sucks. I hate this. Why am I doing this? I hate it. I hate it. And then it just hit me. I'm like, dude, you asked for this, man. Like, this is what you wanted when you were a kid. Like,
Yeah.
you wanted this. Like, this is what I used to train with my buddy Dom Findora and Sam McMonagle. I used to train with them, in a little box barn in Dom's backyard. Like, this is what I wish for, right? And I think that in those moments, that's where you get that. You just get this relief of, wow, I'm here. Like, this is it. This is what I wanted my whole life. So why am I going to pout? Why am I going to pout? This is what I've asked for. So I have to be grateful, because if I'm not, I will regret it in X amount of years.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, be grateful in the tough moments, be grateful in the iceberg that nobody sees, because the majority of the iceberg is always under the water. And all that work, like you said, cutting weight, all those things you have to do. People see you and they're like, okay, you walk out there and you go wrestle and you go do your thing. And it's like, you don't know the amount of film and the amount of lifting and what I have to do when I'm eating and the regimen I have to have with my sleep. And I got to get my classwork done. And I want to have a social life. And, I got to get my mind right. I got to pray. I got to meditate. There's all of these things underneath the water, like cutting weight, that nobody sees before match day. Why do you value the entire road to the mat and not just match day itself?
I think that's another good one. You got a lot of good questions, but I think that I do that because it's about the journey, right? It's not about where you end up. And it's a very niche thing. You could say it's not about the kill, it's about the hunt. There's different ways to put this, but I don't think because if I were to fixate on the outcome, at least in the past 3 years or 4 years, whatever, my outcome, I would be miserable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I never qualified for the NCAA, so I'm not All-American. I'm not a national champ. I haven't accomplished any of my goals. And if I were to only fixate on the outcome in the match and the duel, the tournament, my mindset would crumble. Like, there would be no root in anything. And I think that when you just embrace the hard things and the good things, that's when you begin to just realize, like, that's the gratitude in itself. And it's a hard thing to do. And that's, I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but for, anyone that listens to this or is struggling with being grateful, I think you have to just start with the obvious things. Like, every day I wake up, I'm just extremely grateful. I get in the car and I pray and I just say, Lord, thank you for waking me up. Me waking up is a blessing in a disguise. And I think a lot of people overlook it. And just right from there, anything else that happens in that day, I have to be grateful for, because I woke up. I got to experience whatever it is. If I get robbed, if I lose my match, you know what I mean? It's whatever it is. It's just, you got to just have that mindset of finding one thing and just letting it domino effect, as you said earlier.
Well, and I love that, because I tell people, I say, if you wake up with problems, at least you're alive to deal with them. Mm-hmm. Because 6 feet under, you don't have no problems. You also aren't living and on this planet. So I tell people all the time, if you're alive and you have a problem, it's a blessing to be alive and have it. If you have people you can call and they care about you enough to listen and help you through the problem, and if you have somebody to call and complain to, That's a blessing. So you might be focused on the problem when you should be grateful that mom answers, dad answers, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, that you have a dog or a cat that shows you love and sits with you and has your back all the time. There's so many things that happen in life that you can flip over the other way. I was just thinking about the fact where my grandfather's died when I was 6. Most angry I've ever been at God. Didn't turn my back on him completely, didn't leave, didn't go to the other side, won't ever go there. I was upset though. And I looked back at that time, and I was talking about it on the show, I think a few days ago. And I was like, my grandfathers were both in World War II. So many things could have gone wrong, and they don't come home. If one of them didn't come home, there's no me. So I can say, God, why did I only have them on this planet for 6 years? Or I can say, God, thank you for getting them home to have them be here so that I could have my parents and then I could be born. Because if you took them before 1992, if you took them before they had my mom and my dad, then there's no me. So yes, I spent my life as a kid saying, why did this happen to me? And now as an adult, I say, thank you for getting them home, or else I would have never gotten here. And it's just a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
So, for those watching and listening, it really is all about perspective. And as we continue the conversation here with Nate Lucier, here with us as we speak on his time at Binghamton, as well as the greater Binghamton family here in this Bearcat Breakroom and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University, of course, here in Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. What got you into wrestling in the beginning? How did this all happen, Nate? Where did the love come from, and how did you keep it going?
I think I got a flyer in kindergarten or first grade, and I brought it home to my dad, and he asked me if that's what I wanted to do, and I said, yeah. I was a little kid filled with ADHD, so I'm sure they signed me up pretty fast, and ever since, I think I just kind of kept the ball rolling. I didn't really see any success, I don't think, really until my sophomore year of high school, and that's when it kind of clicked for me. I was like, well, I can either continue living the life that I'm living and not go to college for wrestling, or I can sort of fix the things that I'm doing wrong and, try and make a name for myself and, go to college hopefully for free, or just, get an opportunity. And, that's kind of where the fire started, I think. And also just trying to make my family proud. My mom and dad and sister put a lot of time and money, into me being where I'm at right now. So, yeah.
You said you brought home a flyer in kindergarten. What do you want to say to the person that put that flyer out there all those years ago?
Just a big thank you and a big hug, honestly. Because, without that, I believe I would have found Christ, another way, but I would not have met the brothers in Christ and just the teammates and friends and long time friends, if I didn't pick up that flyer, that person didn't put that flyer out. So I'd give them a big old hug and just a nice big thank you.
Yeah, it's funny. People call them coincidences. I call them God incidences.
Yeah.
Because I do not believe that anything happens surely by chance.
No.
I want to talk about hometown. So, Coatesville, Pennsylvania. It's the only city in Chester County, Pennsylvania. The population, as of 2024, less than 14,000 people. Now, it's only 39 miles west of Philadelphia. But what's it like to have the only city in the entire county, and how would you describe Coatesville, PA?
I think Coatesville there's no way to describe it. I love that place. It's, it's home. It's like anyone else is going to say about their hometown. Anytime I'm away, even though I live in New York now, it's still New York just doesn't feel like home. And Coatesville, it just has some of the most, loving and caring people, I think, in the community. And it's a very warm feeling you get when you're there. It's sort of hard to describe, in all honesty, but it's a great place. It's somewhere that I really want to live later in life, but there's some, it's pretty expensive in Chester County, so that's a bit of a drawback, but I do love it there. It's a great place.
And it's not, and I love hearing that about your hometown. You could tell it means a lot to your heart. You're not that far from Philly. I've been in Philly, did some card shows in Philly. I ran the Rocky Steps in Philly and filmed it. Didn't like the filming of it, so I ran back down and ran right back up a second time. And my knee wasn't even necessarily 100% that day. So I could say I ran the steps not once, but twice. And if you count running down it, 3 times. So what can you say about Philly? How often have you visited Philly? And can you tell me where the place is to go for a cheesesteak? I'm not going to tell you the 2 places that I've been told more often that are the off the beaten path ones that are not the ones you hear from people that are talking about kind of the commercialized. There's 2 places people have told me. I've been to one of them, but I want to know what's your experience with Philadelphia and do you have a cheesesteak spot?
Okay. I don't go to Philly as much as I probably should, just because of it's Philly. It's a great place. I've gone there, PRTC practices. I think I've gone a couple of times just hang out with some friends. Now, cheesesteak wise, I'm not going to give you the typical Pat's and Geno's. Now, look, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's like the Domino's and Papa John's of pizza, in my opinion, right? It's not like it will get you by. But me, the best cheesesteak I think I've had is probably from Angelo's.
Okay. So you say Angelo's.
Mm-hmm.
I was told Max's and Ishkabibbles.
Okay.
Now, I did not get to Ishkabibbles because my buddy who was driving refused to go anywhere inside of Philly, but he did go to Max's, which was on the corner, and it wasn't too far from the Rocky Steps. I will tell you, the first bite or 2 from Max's, I was like, oh, this tastes pretty basic. And then as I ate the cheesesteak, the more it lived on my taste buds, and I was like, all right, Max's, I feel you. So I can tell you that people have told me Max's and Ishkabibbles that have a connection to Philly, and I can say that my experience of Max's has been very good.
Okay, I might have to write this down. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, write down Max's and Ishkabibbles. I do not know how to spell it, but I heard good things about it, and I think there's 2 of them. I think there's an Ishkabibbles and an Ishkabibbles 2, if my memory serves me correctly. But so what is your go-to food then? Like you said, you love home, you love Coatesville. Do you have a restaurant that's local to your home? And if you do, is there something that you get all the time?
Oh wow, that's tough, man. I'm sure a lot of wrestlers probably say they're foodies. Dang. In Coatesville, I would say, a classic for me would be like Milton, or probably like Venice Pizza. My dad and I and my sister used to always go there. But if you're going to allow me to travel a little bit, like 30, 40 minutes, I have to say Fogo de Chão.
Okay.
It's a Brazilian steakhouse. You get like your red and green card, flip it over when you want steak. That place is just phenomenal. I may or may not have gone there twice in 1 week.
Yeah.
But it's that place is. Whew.
I could tell you this: when you go to for me, and you just said you've been to somewhere more than once in a week. There's places where I won't go forever, and then I'll go on a Monday, and then I'm back on Tuesday, maybe on Friday. There's just something that gives you that, oh, I haven't had this in so long, and I want to enjoy it as long as, especially if you're out of town and you go to a restaurant, and you're only there for 4 days, like there's a place in Atlanta that has fantastic homemade nachos, and it's really close to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where I do a lot of my coverage of college football. So Tin Lizzie's is the name of the place, and I will stay at a hotel that I know when I come out of the hotel, it is maybe a 5-minute walk. And I was there for like 2 or 3 days, and I went there twice. And I went there right before I got on the plane. It was the last thing I did before I left Atlanta. So I get it.
That's what it's all about, though.
Yeah, it's about finding the good places and enjoying them. So before we get into rapid fire, where we get to put each other on the hot seat for a few questions here, you just wrapped up the U23 Nationals. I want to give a little background here. So you competed on behalf of the Bearcat Wrestling Club, reached the quarterfinals on Saturday to end the month of May, on Saturday, May 30th, after winning all 4 of your matches in the freestyle tournament at 70 kilograms. On Sunday, you were the number 41 seed in the bracket, faced the top seed in Jordan Williams with a trip to the semifinals. You picked up the first takedown in the opening period and moved ahead 2-0. Williams did tie the bout with a 2-point takedown later in the first period. The bout remained tied heading into the second period until Williams took the lead by gaining a point after taking you down. And while you went toe-to-toe with Williams for the remainder of the bout, he ended up winning it with a 3-2 decision. The number 41 seed going up against the top seed, and you gave him everything you possibly could to a 3-2 decision. I know it wasn't a victory, but I'm going to use some of your words. I think you already won, coming in as the 41 seed, going up against the top seed, and making sure that Williams wasn't going to make it out of that thing unless he gave it every inch that he had.
Yeah. That was, I had a good win the night before. The guy I beat in the round before the quarters, he's pretty solid, and that was a good win. But LeBlanc always tells us, we got it. Coach LeBlanc, he always says can't get too high, can't get too low. And that match, honestly, when I saw because I know who Jordan Williams is. He's like he's a pretty good wrestler, but I'm not going to sit here and get all anxious and worried because like you just told me, as I told you earlier,
yeah.
I already won.
Yeah.
So, and this guy bleeds the same blood that I do, and honestly, as I said before too, this is what I asked for, right? Like if you want to get better at something, you got to face the best, right? I'm not going to go and wrestle Joe Schmo who's been wrestling for a year, right? I don't want that. That's not going to get me to advance. And it was fun, man. Like those are the matches that I absolutely live for and love. Like when it's a minute left, you're down, you got to go get it. That's the epitome to me. Like to me, that's what the epitome of wrestling is. And I live for nothing else. That is my favorite thing. Obviously, it would be my favorite if I won, but it's just a loss, man. It's just 2 guys scrapping. That's what I boil it down to.
Well, and you don't get to the quarterfinals unless you go 4-0. So I got to give you a shout out representing the Bearcats at the U23s, starting off this thing 4-0 to put yourself in the quarterfinals and then being in such a close contest on the mat with the number 1 seed, the top seed overall. I got to say, Nate, in my opinion, you did win. You made a statement for Binghamton. You let the world know. And I don't simply look at wins and losses. That's never been me. I look at this and say to myself, you earn the right to get to the quarters. You earn the right to play the top seed. And you put the top seed in a place where this looked more like 1v2, not 1v41. So I got to say to you, Nate, if you haven't achieved certain things that you look to achieve, let me be the one to say to you, you achieved something that you should always keep in your heart. What do they say? Never let the losses go to your heart and the wins go to your head. I'm going to tell you, take this loss and turn it into a victory in your heart and make sure you let that sit there for the rest of your life, because doing what you did showed that seeds don't matter, schools don't matter, It matters the fight in somebody. And essentially what Rocky Balboa said, not how hard you get hit, but how much you can take and keep moving forward in any walk of life. What you did in this matchup at the U23s to go 4-0, to put yourself there, to face the top seed, and to make it come down to a 3-2 decision, I got to tell you, I've known you for as long as we've talked here today, and I'm proud of you. So I hope that you're proud of yourself, and I hope that you build upon this in your life, and remember that in moments of adversity, it doesn't matter how the world sees you, it matters how God sees you.
Amen. I appreciate that, Dan. Seriously. Thank you.
Of course. Well, you earned it. So with that being said, Nate, let's play some rapid fire. We're going to put each other on the hot seat. We can ask any question, any topic, and we have to answer it. You can ask me the first question. I'll ask you the next, and we'll go back and forth. What do you got?
Okay. If you had to take down Charlie Tibbetts, one of our heavyweights, with your life on the line, do you think you could get him down?
Well, I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'll tell you my answer.
Okay.
So I am somebody who, I'm looking at Charlie right at 6'2", 285. God bless you, Charlie. You got me beat by, he's almost double my weight, and I am 5'8". But I will tell you this. So my cousin Jeff, sorry Jeff if you're watching and listening to this, but the truth is the truth. So Jeff's big on wrestling. And Jeff invited me over to his house growing up as a kid. And I was probably a teenager. He was a year older than me, year or two older than me. And he wanted to wrestle in the house on the hardwood floors. You know, like if we fall, it's going to hurt. We're going to bang into stuff. You could fall off the landing. There was all kinds of things that were there. And I'm the type of person where there's nothing I believe I can't do with God at my side. So he thought he had me beat because he watches wrestling all the time and he knows all the moves and yada, 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 yada. And he's bigger than me and he's older than me. Well, I won so much at his house that he kicked me out of his house. And he told me, this was back in the day where, you know, I'm not driving yet and you got to call like your mom on the house phone. So he made me go wait at the front door because not only was he done with me at the house, but he didn't even want me to hang out. So I had to go wait for my mom at the front door. And then I told her in the car that why I had to leave was because I beat him so many times. So I was very proud of myself. Now, I am not a boastful person. I was just a person where if you trash talk me and tell me I can't, you're giving me energy, you're giving me fuel, you're giving me locker room material. So I would say to Charlie, as much as I respect and love my Bearcats, I would say, Charlie, talk trash to me and give God and I a reason to take you down. I will tell Charlie, no matter how strong you are, how fast you are, how agile you are, I can promise you, I do not go down without a fight. And I'm probably going to surprise you because I am not somebody that takes anything lightly, nor do I believe that I can ever truly fail if I give it my all and I do it with God. So, Charlie, I will tell you, talk trash to me because it amps me up, and let's see what you got.
We might have to make this happen.
So, and Charlie, just for so I'm on record, I love you dearly, and I appreciate you. So, with that being said, okay, if you could fight any celebrity on the mat, what celebrity would you want to go up against and why?
Oh, man. That's a good one. I would say Chuck Norris.
Okay.
And, you know, I think I can take him. Honestly, Chuck Norris, I can take him.
Okay. I like it.
I think he's a little overrated in my opinion, and I think he's rest in peace, Chuck Norris. But you know, I think if he was still here, I would take him.
The Texas Ranger. All right, I like the answer. What's your next one for me?
If this is actually going to be kind of funny, if you were to cut weight, do you think that you would watch people eat food to help provide mental clarity for the fact that you can't eat?
So would I watch other people eat to help me not eat?
Basically, or it's like you kind of live vicariously through them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I put my mind to something, then I'm going to do it. So I don't know that I would have to watch anybody else or live vicariously through them. I think the best thing for me would be to not think about it and just do what I got to do. But I've already cut weight and I wasn't big, but like I have muscle, but I've cut my body weight to like what I was in like college, which is insane. And I'm very grateful for it. And I look forward to toning it and keeping it all, tight and ready for life. But yeah, I mean, I don't have to cut weight now, but yeah, I think if I was not having to eat certain things, I would just I'd probably just keep myself away from them. But I also know that I have willpower. Like I know I can have chips or cookies in my house and not eat them for months to the point where I have to throw them out. So
Okay.
I know I can do it. Mind over matter. My question back to you, Nate. If you were to star in a fictional world of a movie or TV show, what world would you want to live in and why?
Dang, that's good. I would say the fictional world, I would have to say The Wire.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that is kind of real though, but I guess it's a fake, but I like it. I love The Wire. It's one of my favorite shows. But I think I could really crack down on some of the street guys for sure. I think McNulty probably could have done a better job.
Okay. All right. It's funny. A lot of things are coming full circle in our conversation, and my dad just started watching The Wire. So I think that's really funny because he's been trying to get me to watch it. All right. What's your last question for me, Nate?
Wow. Okay, if you had to give up. Okay, actually, this will be good.
Okay.
What would you rather give up for until you had to make weight? Like you're either really hungry or really thirsty, and you have to give up one for 24 hours: food or water. And I know you said the willpower, but like I know I have willpower, and this is just me. This is just me speaking.
Yeah.
But like the one thing I noticed when I cut weight, and most people can agree, it's like when you're really dehydrated. Like I would watch videos of people drinking water. It gets that bad. Okay. So what do you think you would like better, to be hungry or to be thirsty?
I would rather be hungry than thirsty. I drink a lot of water and I broadcast for a living. So I would say I'd want to be hungry rather than being thirsty. And I kind of like inadvertently fasted a couple months ago and I saw my ability to do it and like over days. So I would say I've already kind of put myself in be hungry, not thirsty. And I've shown myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
So I'd say that.
That's a good answer. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you. My last question for you, Nate. If you and I were sitting here with Jesus right now, which we are, but let's say he's physically on camera and we're both in the same room with him, what 3 questions would you ask Jesus?
Man, that's tough. I don't even know. I think first I would ask him if I could give him a hug and a kiss on the cheek, kiss his feet. Second, Man, that's a good question. Holy crap. What would I ask him? That's deep.
You can ask him anything you want.
Man. I think the one I almost I think I would ask him if I have led more people to Christ than strayed more people from Christ. And I think that I would ask him that because that's something that I kind of always kind of worry about in a way. Like I never want to lead someone away. You know, like as I said earlier, I never want to like force my religion upon someone. Yeah. But and I think that there's ways about sharing it that can be healthy. But that's something I think I would ask. I wish I could give you another one, but there's so many. Like that's a good question. I'm gonna think on that. I'm gonna get back to you on that last one.
Okay. No. And you can. There is a song, and when I asked you that question, it made me think of this song. And the lyrics to this song, the song is called "I Can Only Imagine," and the chorus is, "Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine." So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And those are good questions that you came up with. Nate Lucier, you're stuck with me for the rest of your life. Too good of a conversation. Too good of a first impression. This man went and did his thing at the U23s, and he's been doing it for Binghamton for a long time. Part of the family here of the Bearcats and part of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Nate, it has been my honor, a blessing, and a privilege to have you here, and I look forward to keeping in touch and for you telling me your third question to Jesus once you know it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. This was I really didn't think it was going to be this great, but seriously, I really am at a loss for words. This was amazing. God bless.
God bless you too.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us. We're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously, we've lived here our whole lives. So it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, skipthecake, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750 and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's gonna sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Caz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time, in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. And make sure you head out to Game Point Sports Complex. There's truly nothing like it in Central New York, and you can reserve time by going to gamepointsports-syr.com/courts. So make sure that you do that today. Absolutely phenomenal experience. I love every time I get to go in there, and as I've told Jim, if he'll let me sleep in there, I may have to do that a couple times a year so I could just play basketball all day into the night and then wake up and do it first thing in the morning. So big time shout out volleyball, floor hockey, field hockey, cheerleading, basketball, and more, all happening at Game Point Sports Complex. And whether you have a team or you have a league or an event that's going on, or you just want to go there yourself, you can reserve time once again by going to gamepointsports-syr.com/courts. So make sure you do that today and let them know the DT sent you. With that being said, we're in our final portion of our Tuesday broadcast, which every Tuesday brings us to the ingredients to success. The ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. Avicolli's is open for you 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. As always, drink responsibly and only if you are of age. Make sure you head out to Avicolli's today. Let them know the DT sent you their way. Fantastic food, absolutely incredible pizza, the grandma's pie, the tomato pie, the margarita pizza, the barbecue chicken pizza, as well as the tortellini that I absolutely love with chicken on it, their Italian wedding soup, their antipasto. There's so many different things you can get at Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. And we look forward to seeing you there this Wednesday, June 3rd at 6 p.m., as I will be sitting down with my guy, my little brother, Bryce Mills, the professional boxer who went to school at Liverpool High School right down the road from Avicolli's. He will be with me sitting down, hanging out on the pizza side on Wednesday, June 3rd at 6 p.m., and we'll have the opportunity to speak with one another ahead of his upcoming fight that is happening on site, on location at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. So the primer for his upcoming fight in Brooklyn is happening at Avicolli's this Wednesday, June 3rd at 6 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you there. Cannot wait for that opportunity to be there, as always, with my little brother, Mr. Bryce Mills. We had some messages that came in here. The cultivator said, "Be where your feet are," and said, "Nate just walked into the weight room, lifting in the off season. The grind never ends for him. Get me on this podcast. I want a chance at a rebuttal." So that coming from the cultivator. So definitely appreciate you being on here, and thank you. And definitely I want to see who the cultivator here, who we got. So yeah. All right. So definitely appreciating the conversation with Nate. And I'm just going to put a message out here for the cultivator. Definitely appreciate him. So thank you all for tuning in, and for everybody that takes time to be here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And it is time, like I said, to get into the ingredients to success. And the ingredients to success here with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So let's jump into the ingredients to success here on the broadcast, and we're going to go right into this topic today, which is the quality of your time. The quality of your time. You know the term quality time, but a little play on words here this morning. The quality of your time. You know, we talk about spending quality time with people, but what does it mean to say the quality of your time? When you're spending time with something, how are you doing this? Right? Quality time is, you know, they say spending time with somebody is great, but spending quality time, what does that mean? What does the quality of your time mean, right? As opposed to the quantity of your time, the quality of it, the essence of your time. See, I'm not wanting to spend time with people that don't appreciate me, with people that don't value me, with people that don't, you know, listen or care. I will pray for everybody. I will hope for everybody. I will want the best for everybody. I just don't want to be around people that don't value their time with me. See, I had dinner last night with my parents, and I wasn't sitting there staring at my phone and looking at my phone. I was spending time with my parents, getting to know my mom and dad better. You know, I don't order steak that much, so I don't really know cuts of steak and what's good and what's not. And even just learning that from my parents. And I was like, okay, well, what cut of steak has the least amount of fat? And, you know, what should I get size-wise and this and that? And just talking about that with my parents. Learning something I didn't know. Because I don't know a lot about, I've cooked steak, I've made steak, I've eaten steak, but I don't order it out a lot. So when there's like a bunch of different choices, see, in my head, when you order chicken, it's like, do you want grilled chicken, fried chicken, barbecue chicken? But when you order steak, it's what cut do you want? They're not asking you what cut of chicken you want, right? So, or what cut of salmon. So it's something different. And when I'm there with my mom and dad and I can ask them, you know, what do you think about this? And what do you think is a good, you know, choice for me? And I love that. I love those conversations with my parents. It doesn't have to be anything philosophical. It can just be learning something, you know? My dad saying something to me about a neighbor that I have and saying, you know, I don't know if they were supposed to do what they did and how they had, you know, they made a decision that they may not be able to do. You might want to check with the town on that, you know, and learning those things, being like, oh, okay, I do have an avenue that I can take. I do have a place where I can gain information. You know, my parents have been a great source of information in my life, sometimes when I ask for it and sometimes when they just give it and I didn't even ask. And the quality of my time with them, right? Quality of the time that you spend. That when you're with people, you're off your phone. When I have an extra few minutes, I'm playing. My dog loves her watermelon. Lily loves her watermelon. It's her like safety blanket toy. And it's her favorite toy and she picks it up everywhere. And it's always with her for the most part, unless I forget it once in a blue moon. But outside of that, you know, she has the watermelon with her. So today I had some extra time, so we played watermelon. And I threw it, and, you know, she brought it back to me, and we got to play with it for a little while because I know that that matters to her, right? The quality of my time. To not just be with her, but to do something that I know she likes to do. And when somebody's talking, are you listening? Are you actively listening, right? If you're passively listening, that could mean that you're on your phone, you're thinking about something else, you're just waiting for them to stop talking. You hear them, but you don't hear them. You hear like, mom, 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 but you're not paying attention to the words. And, you know, I think that in life we commonly appreciate something when it's gone, right? Oh man, my grandmother passed away. She used to always talk to me about this. I wish I asked her more about it. I wish I spent more time with her about it. Well, why do we want to live like that? Why do we want to live wishing and hoping for things that we can't change? But you can actively do something right now. I can call my mom and say, tell me about your day, and not be on my computer, not be looking at something else, not be focusing on something else, not be texting, but to literally just listen to my mom and hear about her day. Because I don't know if there's anyone on this planet that doesn't want to be heard, but how many of us listen? And what did they say? God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. So act according to what you have. You have double the amount of things on your body to listen than you do to speak. So maybe you should do more listening than speaking. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't speak, and it doesn't mean I shouldn't be a broadcaster or chase this dream of mine, but it means that I should be actively listening. We all should be, right? Because we all want to be heard, but how many of us are listening? Hypocrisy is something I talk about a lot on the show because it exists. I'm a hypocrite sometimes, and I'm sure that you've been a hypocrite before, or you know somebody that has, where we want something, but we don't give it. We demand something, but we're not providing that, right? If I don't like the way somebody talks to me, I better not talk to somebody else that way. Because then you look up at God and you say, well, God, I don't want to be talked to like that. And he's like, yeah, but you just did it. And I think God should call you out. I think tough love is a real thing. I think people that truly love you, they will say that to you. You might tell them, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they'll say, yeah, but that's not you. People that check you and remind you of who you are. So the quality of your time. How are you spending your time? Like this morning, I woke up and I didn't pick up my phone right away. And I was like, okay, that's a step in the right direction. But then I picked up my phone in the middle of prayer. So what did I do today? I went and sat out in my oasis. I sat in my rocking chair, my giant rocking lounge thing. It's really cool. Thank you, Dad, for it. And I went and I sat out there and I was like, let's try this again. Instead of wasting the whole day saying, God, I should have done better, let's go do better right now. Let's go talk to God right now. No phone, no computer, no nothing. Just me and him and the breeze and the nature, and just I'm allowing myself to be face to face with God, uninterrupted. I'm going to give him the quality of my time. Instead of just making him a part of a bunch of things I'm doing, I'm going to make him the only thing. And I think that, in the hustle and bustle of life, we get busy and it gets crazy. But I just talked to somebody recently who said to me, I'm sorry that I'm answering this on my phone. I'm sorry that people are coming through the house and, I am paying attention to you. And they're so focused on wanting me to know that I'm important, that they are listening, that they are with me here in this conversation, that their text messages are not more important and their emails and this and that. They made it a point to say, I am not trying to be distracted. I am trying to focus on you. And if you can meet people in today's world of distraction that want to not be distracted but focus on you, value that. Value the people that are at work and they still pick up the phone or they text you back. Value, like my dad would answer the phone when he was working and talk to me. My mom would answer the phone, and still she'll text me at work. She'll watch the show when she can. She'll listen. My brother Isaac, he picks up dang near every time I call him during work. And it doesn't matter if it's 5-minute conversation or 3-hour conversation, he will make me a part of his day. And he doesn't have to. The quality of your time. Who are you spending your time with? What are you spending your time doing? And when you choose to be with your dog or your cat or your uncle or your aunt or your mom or your dad or your grandma or grandpa or your kids or your friends or your clients or your employees or your boss, are you making that time quality or is it just quantity, right? I'm not the type of person that's going to sound like I'm pushing you and rushing you off the phone. That's a rarity. If I'm doing that, then that means I'm getting a phone call from a doctor or I'm getting a call from somebody who was supposed to update me on something that's going on. It's not an emergency necessarily, but if I'm pushing not pushing, but if I'm rushing anybody out of a conversation, it's because something very timely is happening, and I will call you right back, and I'll apologize again. But it's a rarity for me. You know, if my mom wants to talk to me for 3 hours, then I'm talking to my mom. And I think I had to learn things like, just because you may have a girlfriend at this point doesn't mean that you have less conversations with your friends and your family. I think life is balance, right? You find you bring something new into your life. You get a new job or a new relationship, and you want to spend that time, right? And you want to devote that time because it's important to you, but you can't leave the others by the wayside, right? You get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, so you talk to everybody less, or you don't talk to them at all, and then you break up and you want to go right back into it, and that's not really respectful of those people around you. Because yeah, it makes sense that you're going to give your time to this and see it grow and see it blossom, but that doesn't mean that you disrespect the relationships that were with you before that thing came in. I think life is all about, when new opportunities and blessings come in, it's beautiful. But you cannot forget about the other things. You don't stop hanging out with your family because you got a new friend. You don't stop hanging out with your girlfriend or boyfriend because you got a new job. It's all about figuring things out and balance. But we spend our time where we want to. It's one of the hardest things to have to take in when you know in your gut that something in your life isn't fruitful. And that's when you say to yourself, people do what they want to do, and they make time when they want to. Like, everybody can claim busy. I don't have kids, but I run a business. You don't run a business, but you have kids. You have kids and you run a business, right? You might be unemployed with no kids, but you're spending a lot of time in the church, or you meditate a lot, or you pray a lot, or you're doing something landscaping with your house, or you're, painting a room, whatever it may be. We can all claim busy. There's nobody on this planet that can sit here and say that we can't be busy doing something, right? But there's also nobody on this planet that's not going to make time, no matter how busy we are, if it matters to us. The busiest of people will make time for the people that they care about, for the animals they care about, for the things that they enjoy doing. I can be busy as all get out, but if I want to go to Disney, I'm going to Disney. I can be busy. I tell people this all the time. When I text you back immediately, that doesn't mean I'm not busy. It doesn't mean I'm not on the air. It doesn't mean I'm not doing something. It doesn't mean I'm not at an event. It doesn't mean I'm not traveling. It means that you're important to me. There are people in my life that if you text me or you call me, I am right there with you. And the people that really know me know how busy I am, but I make time for them. Very rarely am I the person that looks at my phone and goes, yeah, I'm not going to get to that right now. Normally, it's with somebody who's toxic, playing games, not healthy, somebody who I think is in a chess match with me, or someone who's disrespectful. I might go, you know what, I'll answer that message, but I'll answer it, or it's me saying I'm going to answer that message, but I'm going to take my time with it, because if I answer emotionally right now, I'm not going to answer in a pleasant way. So if I take time, there's purpose in the time that I'm taking. But if I text you right back, or I want to talk to you, or I think about you when I wake up, or right before I go to bed, you're somebody that I'm talking to, that means you're important to me. And I could know you for a day, or I could know you for 14 years. Like, I don't look at the amount of time you put in and go, oh, those people are important and those people aren't. There are people that I want to reach out to, and I will get back to you. And if it takes you 2 hours to get back to me, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm going to take 2 hours to get back to you. Like, if I want to talk to you, I'm going to talk to you. Because at the end of my life, I want to be able to say to God, I didn't do an eye for an eye. And sometimes I did. Sometimes I felt like I was in a chess match with someone and I gave them a taste of their own medicine, when I should have just said to them, hey, I don't really like this, because I don't think an eye for an eye does anything but make the whole world blind. And so I should have said, hey, I don't really like that. I don't really enjoy that. But I do have rules and I have boundaries. If you're a client and you text me at, 10 o'clock at night, I may want to text you back because I am awake and I am a person who's always working and always doing things. But I have to look at the messages sometimes and go, let's not text somebody back at 10 o'clock at night. Because once you do that with a client, you have now told the client, you can text me as late as, or you can text me anytime. And I think there has to be boundaries, because I got to a point in my life where here I am dating and I'm answering messages at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight. And the woman that I'm with is kind of like, at what point do you stop? And she had a point. There has to be a place where people need to know, I'll get to this tomorrow. Because I am the type of person where if you have a complaint or a concern or you like want something or need something, I'm like, okay, let me do it right now. But that led to me not sleeping, being stressed out, being anxious, my body hurting, me eventually getting sick, having to deal with being sick. I would run myself ragged trying to please people that most of the time were not pleasable. And if I've learned anything about life, those that complain often, you're never going to make them happy. You could give them something for free and they'll complain about it. I'm an under-promise, over-deliver type of guy, and I can give you something that I didn't even promise you. I can call up a client and say, hey, you're not paying for this in your partnership, but I thought it would be a good idea, so I added it in. And they'll complain about, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. And then you're like, I just made you something for free, stayed up late doing it, and you're complaining that a bonus thing you got is not to your liking. And I pay attention to those people and I go, okay, how many things have I done? How many times have they complained? Oh, they've complained 9 out of 10 times. Do I really want to work with this person? Because is there any amount of money that's worth the headache? There's some people that'll tell you if it's a lot of money, it's worth the headache. And I would tell you there's a reason why you can't take money to heaven. There is no amount of money that is worth the headache. There's no amount of beauty of a woman that's worth me dating her if she's toxic. Or a man, if you flip it in the other direction for those of you that are dating men. I am not the type of person that thinks I should deal with drama and disrespect and toxicity if there's a lot of money involved, if they're really hot, if it's going to benefit me and give me power. There's never been a time of my life where I've stayed around somebody who was toxic and I thought, man, that was worth the money. That was worth, how pretty they are. That was worth, the things they could get me and the perks that we had. The longer I spent around toxicity, it just made me feel more drained and more stressed and more unlike myself. So the quality of your time is really important. Who are you spending your time with? And when you're spending your time with them, are you with them? Like if I tell my mom I'm going to go to lunch and I'm on my phone the whole time, I should have picked a different time to go to lunch. Like there's things you have to get done and there's things you have to do, but I never like being out with somebody and they're on their phone. I don't care if it's my family, if it's a date, if it's a friend. The most recent date that I went on, the girl was on her phone almost the entire time. And my dad's like, he goes, you should have left. Talk to somebody else. They're like, you should have left. Talk to my mom. She's like, you should have left. I don't know why you stayed there. And I said, well, I am the person that typically tries to give people better than what they give me. Just because that's me. It's my nature. Like, I don't want to give you what you give. I will get, like, I might show you a taste of it. Like she took out her phone repeatedly. So the second, third time she did it, I took out my phone. And every time she took out her phone, I reached for my phone. I'm like, I'm going to show her a mirror image of herself. Sometimes it is good to show somebody what they're doing. Not in an eye for an eye, but in a lesson learned. Like if I'm a parent and my kid was taking their phone out all the time, I'd take my phone out. And then they'd be like, hey, Dad, you're not listening to me. I'd be like, oh, you don't like it? So to me, it's not me going, ha, 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 eye for an eye. It's me trying to teach you a lesson. I don't want to poke you in the eye. I'm trying to show you what you poking me in the eye feels like. And yeah, I mean, if you're on your phone, especially on a first date, that's the last time. That's the last time you will see me. Because you are never going to be able to make that make sense. Unless you have somebody that is dying in hospice, your friend is about to have a baby, but I can honestly tell you beyond a doubt that if you grab your phone, especially in an initial meeting with me, I don't know you that well, and now I don't want to. If I've known you for a long time, I don't have a problem going like, can you maybe put your phone away? Or else I'm just going to take my food and go. I don't like when I take my phone out. I get agita when I take my phone out because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, the person across from me has every right to tell me to put it away right now because I'm being disrespectful. I check myself. I don't check other people, not check myself. I check myself. And we can never ask for what we do not give because, again, hypocrisy. So how is the quality of your time? Who are you spending it with? And when you're there, are you there? Sometimes we got stuff on our mind. Sometimes things are stressing us out. Sometimes we're going through a tough time. But I feel like say that. Sit down with your family and say, hey, I'm going through a breakup. I'm really in my head about it. So if I seem a little off today, just know I'm going through it. Because the people that love you, they're going to want to know that. And honesty is never going to fail you. You might think it does because honesty might provoke a fight. Honesty might end a relationship. Honesty might end a partnership. Honesty might hurt somebody's feelings. But I would rather somebody be honest with me than waste my time. And I find that dishonesty, when it happens, you're like, man, like, why did you let me think this was what it wasn't? Just be honest. Because then I'm not wasting my time. I don't like when a business is like, call me in 3 months, call me in 6 months, call me in 9 months. Just tell me you're not interested. Or if a girl's like, doesn't want to date you, but then she's looking up, she's stalking your social media, and every once in a while she writes you a message. And then you're like, hey, let's get together. And they're like, no. And you're like, well, then why the hell do you keep showing back up? I am not the type of person that wants my time wasted because I will die someday. I will. And there's never going to be a time where I look back and I go, hey, I'm really happy that woman wasted a month of my time. I'm really happy that business, jerked around for 3 years. I am not the type of person that wants my time to be lacking of quality. Everything I do has to have meaning. And when it doesn't, I shouldn't do it. And that's how I live my life. And I'm not saying that's how everybody lives their lives, but that's how I choose to live my life. My life must have quality in time, or else I should not be doing it. I value the people that truly make me feel special and heard and appreciated and noticed. And if I love that so much, then I need to give that. And if I'm not giving that, then I need to know why. And be honest with them and be honest with myself. Because no one should ever be a placeholder. And there's no friendship or romantic relationship or family or business bond that should be existing simply to pass the time. I'm not looking to pass the time. I'm looking to give meaning to my minutes. Meaning to my minutes. And I hope you will too. With that being said, we'll take our final step aside. This has been the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. You can go and check them out 7 days a week on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, down the street from Liverpool. If you stand at the corner where Avicolli's is, you can see Liverpool High School. And that's where we have our events with Liverpool all throughout the year, and where we will have our next event, which is Bryce Mills ahead of his fight at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. He'll be hanging out with me at Avicolli's this Wednesday, June 3rd at 6 p.m., and I look forward to seeing you there to enjoy the time with our professional Central New York boxer who has made a name for himself around the world, and I cannot wait to spend that time with him together at Avicolli's this week. We'll take a step aside inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and wrap things up right after this.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com. to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer, and we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5, in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food at our pizza pub. That was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top-notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza, like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole school, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we've got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. You know where to go. Every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. GG Cards and Breaks gets you feeling like a big kid. It doesn't matter your age. You could be 9 years old. You could be 39 years old. You could be 89 years old. It don't matter. Because GG Cards and Breaks gets you closer to the teams you love, the players you love, and the games you love to play and the characters that you love. From One Piece to Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon to your soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, football cards, and more. They have everything you need to protect your cards, different size top loaders, the binders to travel with, so many wonderful, wonderful pieces. You could walk in there, have never picked up a pack of cards or a box of cards in your life and walk out of GG Cards and Breaks like you've been a collector your whole life, because they are knowledgeable, they have wisdom over time, and they have the resources that you need to make sure that your collection is safe, showcased well, and that you know all about what the products are because they school themselves in it. GG Cards and Breaks is home, and I look forward to you making it home for you as well on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, what's up? Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard, you know what it's about. Big, giant brick building, double drive-through, massive parking lot. They are waiting for you, and they are unmissable there on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. They're excited to bring you the favorites that you have, from the original, the spicy, the grilled chicken sandwiches, the chicken nuggets, of course, as well as all of the wonderful things from the mac and cheese to their amazing shakes and that nostalgia that they've mixed into it. There's going to be a new sandwich coming soon, and you got to make sure you get over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt to try it first on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. We look forward to seeing you there. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe for almost 3 hours today. Under promise, over deliver. I tell you, 9 to 11, we always go past 11. More often than not, I would say of 250 shows a year, 248 of them go past 11 o'clock. So thank you for being with us on YouTube and Facebook, both /WakeUpCallDT, and of course on wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. You can find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to our wonderful partners in Central and Upstate New York. Make sure to support and visit our team at Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, Myers Creek, the Baked Potato Express, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Skippy's Ice Cream, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Brian's Landing, Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Avicolli's Game Point Sports Complex, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Willow Rock Brewing Company and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Mother's Cupboard, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find the Bearcats every single Tuesday like today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining us here where sports meets life, telling the greater story of the Binghamton family. The Bearcats are on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist of over 150 episodes. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank Dave Paziak for being a part of the show today. I want to thank Nate Lucier. I want to thank God himself for the blessed conversations that I've been able to have. I want to thank him for you watching and listening. And of course, the ingredients to success. I want to thank Avicolli's. I hope you all have a beautiful and wonderful day. Please stay safe, stay well, be good to each other. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I'm Dan Tortora. This is Wake Up Call, and God loves you.